Why, hello there. Looking for Perry Miniatures and AWI, British Infantry, 1775 to 1783, apparently. Well, I guess you may have come to the right place, I'm not really sure. So, these are Perry Miniatures AWI. We do have two different lots. We have the Perry Miniatures ones, and we also, because we didn't know what the different figures would be, so we also picked up the Warlord version as well to see what the difference is, but we'll go into the Warlord ones later. So these are Perry, and what do you think of them?
I like them a lot.
Yeah, they're actually, yeah, we do like them. I've got some nice pictures on the back of various peoples. So we'll pop the figures out, if they come out at all. Right, so let's have a look. We have the command sprue, which we'll do first. This is the command sprue. We have all sorts of stuff on the command sprue. The most awesome bits, of course, is the dead bodies. Dead bodies are awesome.
You love them, don't you?
I love dead bodies. You got one guy laying on his back and one guy laid on his front. They've had a bad day. They've died, really. So it's a terrible shame. Then we have a couple of officers with some nice, wonderful pointy hands. You can always tell officers because they have a pointy hand. Actually, World War II, that's when the pointy hands really start coming in. Because before then, officers usually have some sort of sash or something to make themselves look different.
Big pointy stick.
A pointy stick if you're Roman. Actually, also a pointy stick in World War One. British officers carry pointy sticks because you wouldn't want to go up against a German machine gun without a pointy stick.
I pull it out and there's a bayonet in it.
Well, that was Grandpapa's.
Yeah, that was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yes, Grandpapa's pointy stick was
extra pointy.
extra pointy. It didn't just point at things; it was also pointy. Yes, he got special stickers for using pointy stick.
Mm-hmm.
He did love a scrap. Right, so that's the back of them. Pretty decent. These are, of course, War of Independence, and the British uniform had slightly changed for the War of Independence. It was sort of going through you see, it mentions 75 to 83. The changes actually started in 1760. That's when Britain introduced light infantry, because before then the British didn't have light infantry. They used local troops, but
militia.
Yeah, militia. Wherever they were in the world, they would use local troops. Remember, this is a colonial army, not the sort of regular British army. So yeah, it was a slight change, and one of the biggest differences is the length of coat. And this is effectively the same coat. It's made out of the same material, but the coat was shortened to up here, whereas before it came down to about where my thumb is there. Think Spanish Succession. I mean, even during the Spanish Succession, the coat started to get shorter. But that's just one interesting point. So these are really technically they're for the Americas, although the British uniform didn't really differ a lot, because a lot of the troops who arrived in America were raised in Britain and sent to America with the same kit and equipment. Remember, Britain was at war with Spain and France at the time. In fact, we don't technically call the American War of Independence that, because it was the war with Spain. The biggest battle of the War of Independence was, of course, the Battle of Gibraltar, which was nowhere near America. It was fought in Spain. And the Americans weren't there. So the Americans are just a bunch of colonials that the French were backing to try and drain troops from the war with France. How did it work out for them?
Well, I mean, America got their independence.
America goes on about the French.
Yeah, America got their independence, and the French kind of didn't get anything and lost everything instead.
They lost India. They lost Spain. Lost Gibraltar.
But maybe it was just selfless because they're just helping the Americans. That's all it was.
Yes. Yeah. No, they weren't. I think if it had been up to the French, they would have just occupied America, but they just didn't have the ability to do that because the British had given them such a slapping that it just wasn't possible. So then we get these guys, and also another interesting point just to point out is that all those troops who were sent to fight in the Americas, they came home with these ideas of self-governance, and that didn't work out well for the French government, which was overthrown shortly afterwards. So anyway, what else have we got? We've got a nice little musket being carried there, standard bearer, 2 standard bearers, nice little drum, a grenadier head, and lots of different types of hats. And I'm now going to have to talk about the warlord ones. These guys, a bit different. The heads in this are way better than the warlord heads. The warlord heads don't have a huge amount of detail, and the light infantry hats certainly do.
And the heads separate, you have to stick them together.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Yes. So that's one of the heads,
pieces.
which we will get on to. Have we covered the officers?
Yeah, you just
the officers. Yeah. Right, we'll just get into the infantry. Right, we've got loads of infantry.
These infantry reminds me of the American Civil War.
Very much. Very much. This is
well,
if you just looked at this from a slight distance, you would assume this was a Civil War sprue. They're almost identical. In fact, the figure poses are almost identical, but the actual figures are different. Now we have the light infantry hat there.
That's a feather.
Yes. Now I'm going to just mention about the light infantry hat. There's something interesting about the light infantry hat. No, not about the hat. Sorry, about the actual light infantry. British light infantry at the time were not light infantry. They were shock assault troops.
What, run in, cause as much damage as possible, and run out.
Yes. So these guys with this hat here, you would think that these guys, because they're called light infantry, they're actually there to attack, to skirmish in woods. That's not true. These guys are actually assault troops. And the reason they're called light is because they carried very little kit. So they weren't encumbered by bedrolls and stuff like that. They travelled very light so they could run in and fight at the point of the bayonet. That's what they were for. So during the AWI, of course, the Americans had a lot of skirmish troops, so the militia, who were used to fighting in the wilderness, and the British troops weren't. And so we introduced these guys with this hat. This is one that's already painted up. This is a light bob. These are actually light infantry. They are trained to skirmish in skirmish order. Most of them were Americans. They were born in America, these guys. And they were given this little round hat, and that was it. Incidentally, the round hat is actually a tricorn with 2 sides down.
Yeah, I just noticed that because you get 3 variations you can pick.
Yes.
One with it all up, one with it a bit up, and the others which is the light infantry.
Yeah, and that's the full tricorn.
Yeah.
If it focuses, will it focus ever? You get the idea. Anyway, so we have these guys, and we have a nice little collection of weaponry. Lots of muskets, bedrolls, which is a nice addition to make your figures look a little bit different. And yeah, I do actually really like them. These are actually really good. You get a nice collection of figures. Of course, they're all not doing much interesting, they're just marching forwards.
Where do you put the bedrolls?
On the back.
Room on the back?
Like that.
Oh, right, okay.
So that's what they're basically equipped with. The arms go together quite easily. They assemble quite well, and as you can see, there's some I've already put together. They're not based yet, and there they are. They're decent figures. I like them. I like the heads. I like the helmets a lot more than I like the helmets from the other range. The only downside is you have no feathers. A lot of the light infantry with these hats, they had a large feather attached to it. You don't have a feather with this kit.
Yeah, it should be alright.
Yeah, but that's my only downside to it. They had a large green feather to denote them as lights.
Just like how with like Napoleonics, you had the volunteers who have the big
yellow plume,
yellow plume that, to signify where they're supposed to be in the regiment.
Yeah. So there they are. Ideas, thoughts?
I feel pretty cool.
So you can use these guys for any of the wars of the period, really. You can even use them out in India. The uniform didn't really change. The headgear changed. And in India we had a sort of strange, funny hat with a thing coming off the back to protect your neck. But other than that, that's cool. Yeah, any comments, or should we mention the difference between Warlord and...
Well, I guess we'll see in another video, but just difference between Warlord.
Right, so when we do the Warlord unboxing, the Warlord British, we will actually discuss the differences between the two kits. Right, so other than that, this kit is great. I really like the dead bodies you can get. Always very handy on a base to have the odd dead soldier knocking around.
A lot of variations for the command.
Huge variations for the command, and separate swords and stuff, which is great. And the infantry are just really good. They fit together really easily, and I have no problems whatsoever with them. I really like them. So American War of Independence from Perry are brilliant. And we'll get on to Warlord in the next video. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Incidentally, we have a new website up and running. So if you would care to have scroll down and click the button, you will find our new website. So that's it.
Yeah. So if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and comment down below what you think of the American War of Independence. British Infantry. That's everything from me.
And everything from him. Goodbye.
See ya.